Heard of Maslow before, hopefully Abraham Maslow, studying human beings and what motivates people to do things. So we're looking at it from a similar perspective. And again, I'm going to say this often throughout the semester, and I apologize if it gets to the point where it's ridiculous, but we are looking at this from two different perspectives in terms of our being project managers, directors, producers, whatever. Not only the audience, okay, what their needs are, and trying to meet their needs and wants and desires and so on, okay, but also those people you work with. And I'll give you a brief story. I think I mentioned in here that I worked for about 25 years in film and television production. 10 of those years was with the Christian Broadcasting Network. I was sent around the world to do video and film productions. One of the places that I went, as a matter of fact, one of the last places that I went before I changed careers was in Cambodia. And it was the height of their dry season. And in the middle of the day, the heat index, which is similar to the wind chill factor, went up to 130 degrees, right? So that's between approximately 11 o'clock and about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And I'll fill in the blanks of the story later on. But I had to think about, as I was managing producer on that particular project and also director, so I had to think about the well-being of everybody. So it wasn't just that I needed to produce this thing to air in Cambodia and what the audience would think about it and how they would think about it. My immediate concern was people's well-being, right? So we're looking at it from that perspective as well. This is the chart of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm going to go over each one briefly, and then we'll look at them in a little bit of detail. This presentation is in Blackboard, so you can access it very easily. Hopefully you've done so already. We start from the base needs, okay, which are physiological needs, what your body needs and requires, right? And we move up from there to safety needs. Then we move up to belonging, then esteem, and then self-actualization, okay, achieving your individual potential, right? So starting from the bottom, human beings are concerned with maintenance of the human body, first and foremost. Water, food, sleep, and the overwhelming majority of people are created to procreate, right? There are some people who just don't have that impulse, right? These are what are called base needs. Now, one supersedes the other and the other supersedes the other, okay? The most important thing that you need is water, right? You can go, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but you can go a week or so, perhaps, without food. You can go quite a few number of days, which I have, and it's not very good, but number of days without sleep, right? And you won't die. You can go indefinitely without sex, and you'll still live, okay? You don't drink water. I think it's within 48 hours. Your body starts breaking down big time. And after that, if you don't drink water, you can die pretty quickly. You get dehydrated. Your body is 70, 80+% water, right? All your cells are made up of water. So if that's not being replenished, the whole system just shuts down, right? So water is one of the primary needs. Once you have these needs met, then you are concerned with safety needs. Now, safety needs are twofold. Safety needs are both physical and emotional or psychological. So today we, thank God that we have a nice warm building to come into, because trying to have this class outside would be nasty, all right? But there are other times when it's super hot outside, whatever. So we have the shelter. We need to be at a certain temperature in order to function well. So those are safety needs. Not only that, but also safety from physical harm, from being shot at, being physically hurt. We have those needs, and we have one particular mechanism called the fight or flight mechanism, right? How many of you have heard of that before? Right? What is the fight or flight mechanism? Okay, in order to protect yourself. Well, that is based on your need for safety, okay? You either attack when you are, your physical body and your being is put at risk, or you run, okay? But there's also a psychological component to being safe as well. If you ever go into an area that you've never been before, and I've done this very many times, I felt more confident, more safe when I traveled to a foreign country when I went with my boss. There was only two of us. Oftentimes we traveled together, right? When I went alone, I was a little bit more apprehensive. The bigger the group that you go with, the safer that you feel. All right. This is also in terms of the things that you have. Depending on how much money you have, you feel safer or not. All right. If you are, there were many, many times in my life where I was, penniless and just waiting for the next meal, and I was never homeless, thank goodness. But I was always, there were times where I wondered, okay, what am I going to do to eat next? Okay, I'll borrow some money or go whatever. I didn't feel necessarily safe at that time, all right? Even now, even though I have 7 children, I have 5 children, feeding seven people, there is a relative sense of safety, every 2 weeks when I finally get paid. Now we can put food in the refrigerator, we can eat, all right? So everybody's at a different level with that. So you have all these different components of safety: physical safety, safety from that is shelter and so on. Another physical safety of protecting yourself from harm, right? Making sure that you're safe that way. And then there's the psychological safety, both of being in a group, in a large group, or also having some of those physical needs met by having the resources that you need. Same trip that I took to Cambodia. At the time, the dictator who had been ousted, who was Pol Pot, was in the countryside still trying to rally his troops, so there was some contention in the country. And the U.S. Embassy in Phnom Penh put out a notice to all American citizens in Phnom Penh on a particular day, which was the anniversary of when Pol Pot took over, to be careful when you go out there, or stay away from large crowds, because it was kind of like the Wild West still out there. As a matter of fact, in the evening sometimes we would hear pat, 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 people shooting at each other. So that's another concern that I had to consider when we were out there. So that has to do with safety. But you have that taken care of, right? You have your base needs taken care of. You have your safety needs taken care of. Then you move up, and you have this need. Human beings have a need to belong, all right? That's why those people who, for the most part, all right, generally speaking, those people who really excel in life, all right, have a very strong family unit, all right? Or they have a very strong other support group, because they know that they are cared for, and that's an intangible, not the base needs, not the safety needs, but there is an emotional, okay, connection there. We have this need for love and affection, being part of a group. And this love, again, this is not going down to the base need, not the sexual love, but this is the love of unconditional love. That yes, you know, you may not be liked when you do something wrong, but you know you are still loved regardless, all right? Affection, this is kind of a connected somewhat to the physiological need, because every human being needs to be touched, all right? With this kind of love, right? We all need a hug, you know, every single day, all right? You need to be touched affectionately. And again, this is not sexual, all right? This is more of familial love or brotherly and sisterly kind of love, all right? And we all need to feel like we are part of something. We are accepted into a group, right? Once you have your base needs, your safety needs, and your belonging needs met, then you move up to the esteem need. Each of us has a need within us that requires that we are regarded as important. We are regarded as important. In what sense? That our input and our lives help to influence others, hopefully for the positive, okay? So your ideas, the things that you create are valued, okay? They have value, and that other people use them and need those things in order to live their lives.